this weekend, daylight savings time is over. That's right. Daylight savings time, daylight savings time, daylight savings time is over. Daylight savings time, daylight savings time, daylight savings time is over. Grover. Daylight savings time is over. It's over this weekend, or as I like to call it, daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time is over. I call it that because daylight savings time wastes a lot of our time. So a lot of our time is wasted. Or it's not just wasted, but it's also ruined. But that's why I call it daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. But now it's over. It's gonna be over this weekend, which means we'll get an hour back that was stolen from us several months ago. But it's so ridiculous because daylight savings time is useless in this part of the country because we're at the western edge of a time zone, and it's even worse in Terre Haute because Mitch Daniels didn't listen when people in Indiana said to get rid of daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. It's over, but it's even worse in Indiana than it is here because it's useless and it stays light too late in Terre Haute. Even worse than it is in Kentucky. So now it's over, much to the delight of the public. And why do the months that need it least have it? If we're gonna have daylight wasting time, we should have it in December instead of June. But instead, they have it in June instead of December when we really need it. But they keep extending it just to make more money under a bill that was pushed by the electric industry and which Bush signed into law because it was always his way or the highway. And that's why now we have daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. But now it's over. But one bad thing is that it affects the Occupy protests. But that's okay, because we can work around it. There's always people out there anyway. Even yesterday when it rained all day. So people were out in front of the library instead. That's right. They were out in front of the library instead of Piat Park. Because the library has this nice part of the building that protrudes over the sidewalk to keep everybody dry. And still, people keep honking their horns in support of Occupy Cincinnati because Wall Street is so greedy. But at least now we'll be able to be out there early in the morning because of the end of daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. It's over. And we call it daylight wasting time because it's funny. I can't think of any other reason other than it's funny and cool, and the fact that it wastes our time. Daylight wasting time. Daylight wasting time. Even my brand new computer has a note on the clock that says daylight saving time ends on Sunday, November 6, 2011 at 2 a.m. The clock is set to go back 1 hour at that time, and that's gonna be cool because it just is. That's right, daylight savings time. It's over. Daylight wasting time. See, I'm just like Johnny Cash. You see, I sing about the problems of working families, just like Johnny Cash used to do. See, I sang about viaducts. I sang about daylight wasting time. These are all problems that are of great importance to working Americans, just like what Johnny Cash used to sing about. See, if Johnny Cash was alive today, he would probably come out with a song called Daylight Wasting Time. It would probably shoot straight up to #1. That's right, we'd probably be listening to Casey Kasem one day, and Casey Kasem would say, "This is the first song to debut at #1 since 98 Degrees did it back 12 years ago." That's probably what Casey Kasem would say. Or you know, that's probably what he would do. That's because Casey Kasem, he was really Casey Kasem. He was like a music professor about that sort of stuff. Of course, then again, he stopped using the real music chart back in like 1989. But you know how that goes. You know, he was always the chart expert. But Johnny Cash, I'm actually surprised that Johnny Cash didn't have a song like that, because you know he was still making music even into his later years. But you know, I don't know. Maybe it's because he lived in. Now I don't know. Maybe it's because he lived in Memphis or something, which is near the eastern edge of a time zone, and not like Cincinnati or Terre Haute or something. It's near the western edge. So I guess daylight savings time wouldn't have been as bad for him. But see, because where the time zone boundary is. So yeah, see, it's when you live near the western edge of a time zone, daylight savings time is completely useless, especially when considering we're in the wrong time zone to begin with. We should really be in Central Time, but instead we're in Eastern Time. How did we end up in Eastern Time, considering we're actually well to the west of where Eastern Time is supposed to end? And then they pile daylight savings time on top of us in the months where we need it the least, and where it actually hurts us. That doesn't make any sense. It's just all a money game by the electric industry, because it was the electric industry that got, like a few years ago, the electric industry got the bill passed to expand daylight savings time. That was the electric industry that got that passed. That was all lobbying. I mean, why can't we just pull out of it? You know, the Congress isn't it also sort of a 10th Amendment issue? Can't we just pull out of daylight savings time? But that's daylight savings time for you.